Assalamu alaikum. In this video we will discuss Escherichia coli. First we will introduce the Escherichia coli. First one is introduction. Escherichia coli is the most common cause of urinary tract infection. It is the most common cause of UTIs and gram-negative rod sepsis. It is the most common cause of urinary tract infection and gram-negative rod sepsis. It is one of the two important causes of neonatal meningitis. It is one of the two most important causes of neonatal meningitis. It is most frequently associated with traveler's diarrhea. So, which pathogen is most frequently associated with traveler's diarrhea? Escherichia coli. Escherichia coli is most frequently associated with traveler's diarrhea. Some strains of E. coli are enterohemorrhagic. And these strains lead to bloody diarrhea. These strains are responsible for causing bloody diarrhea. Now, what are the important properties of this organism? Important properties of Escherichia coli. So, what are the important properties of Escherichia coli? Escherichia coli are straight gram-negative rods. The next thing that we should know about the Escherichia coli is that these are most abundant facultative anaerobic bacteria of colon and most abundant facultative anaerobes of colon and feces. Facultative means they can live in both aerobic as well as anaerobic environment. These can ferment lactose. On the basis of this fermentation reaction, we can differentiate these from Salmonella and Shigella. This can be differentiated from Salmonella and Shigella on these bases. The next important property is there are three antigens, that is O antigen. O antigen is the cell wall antigen. H antigen is the flagellar antigen, while the K antigen is the capsular antigen. On the basis of these antigens, there are several antigenic variants of Escherichia coli. There are several antigenic variants of Escherichia coli. There are more than 150 O antigens, 50 H antigens and 90 K antigens. So, we can imagine that there are more than 1000 antigenic variants of Escherichia coli. Specific antigenic variant or serotype is associated with the specific certain diseases. For example, O55 and O111 are responsible for causing neonatal meningitis. Neonatal diarrhea. Now, what is the pathogenesis of Escherichia coli? Escherichia coli is only present in the humans and the other mammals. So these are the reservoirs for its infections. Urinary tract infection is mostly caused by the person's own colonic flora, while the source of neonatal meningitis comes from the mothers, because at the time of birth the bacteria enter the fetus. The next thing is traveler's diarrhea, and the source for this traveler's diarrhea is eating the contaminated food or drinking the contaminated water with the human feces. Enterohemorrhagic Escherichia coli is transmitted to humans from the cattle. That is, if you eat uncooked hamburger, you are at the risk for developing enterohemorrhagic infection of E. coli. The components that are responsible for pathogenicity of the E. coli include villi that are responsible for adherence. Villi are responsible for adherence. Capsule that is responsible for providing antiphagocytic activity. Endotoxin responsible for fever and sepsis and shock. And other three exotoxins are that are produced by E. coli are two that are responsible for watery diarrhea and one responsible for causing bloody diarrhea. One is responsible for causing bloody diarrhea and hemolytic syndrome. How intestinal tract infection is caused by this bacteria? This is all about the pathogenesis. This bacteria adheres to the. How intestinal infection occurs? Intestinal tract, that is to the cells of the jejunum and ileum. It adheres to the cells of jejunum and ileum. The next step is, as we know that adhesion is done by the help of villi. The next step is, after the attachment, bacteria synthesizes the enterotoxins or exotoxins. Enterotoxins or exotoxins. These exotoxins act on the cells of jejunum and ileum and lead to diarrhea. The toxins are strikingly cell-specific. The cells of the colon are not susceptible to the infection by Escherichia coli because there it remains as normal flora. What is the reason? Because they lack receptors in the colon. In the colon, receptors are not present for these enterotoxins to cause diarrhea. So receptors are not present. But in the jejunum and ileum, the receptors are present. The first toxin is the heat labile toxin. The first toxin is the heat labile enterotoxin. Heat labile enterotoxin, it acts by stimulating the adenylate cyclase. Adenylate cyclase is stimulated, and what happens when adenylate cyclase is stimulated? ADP ribosylation of the G protein, that is adenylate cyclase is when stimulated, then cyclic AMP levels are increased. Cyclic AMP levels are increased. After increase in the cyclic AMP levels, phosphorylation of the ion transporters in the membrane occurs. Phosphorylation occurs. Why phosphorylation occurs? Because the cyclic AMP activates the protein kinases that phosphorylate the ion transporters in the membrane. Ion transporters in the membrane are activated through phosphorylation. These are activated through phosphorylation, and this opening of these ion transporters causes pouring of the fluid potassium and chloride ions in the intestinal lumen of the gut, and therefore it results in watery diarrhea. So what's the mechanism of this toxin, heat labile toxin? It stimulates adenylate cyclase, cyclic AMP levels are increased, protein kinases are activated that phosphorylate the ion transporters, these get opened, and fluid potassium ions and chloride ions move outside into the lumen and lead to watery diarrhea. The next toxin is the low molecular weight heat stable toxin. The next toxin is the heat stable toxin. The heat stable toxin is a low molecular weight heat stable toxin, and it stimulates the guanylate cyclase. Guanylate cyclase, and the mechanism is similar because cyclic GMP is produced more and more. This increase in cyclic GMP leads to opening of the ion transport channels, and watery diarrhea occurs. The enterotoxin producing strains do not cause the inflammation. These strains do not cause the inflammation. So enterotoxin producing strains do not cause inflammation, do not invade, so they don't invade the intestinal mucosa. And these strains that produce heat labile and heat stable toxins, these organisms only induce the watery non-bloody diarrhea. However, there are certain enterohemorrhagic strains of Escherichia coli. These strains are O157H7 type. So this strain produces the toxin that is similar to the Shiga toxin. What does this toxin do? It acts by removing adenine from large 28S ribosomal RNA, and therefore stop the protein synthesis. Translation process is stopped. When translation process is stopped, then Shiga toxin leads to bloody diarrhea. So this is the mechanism. It acts by removing an adenine from the large 28S ribosomal RNA, and therefore stop the protein synthesis, and in this way it damages the intestinal tract and leads to bloody diarrhea. O157 H7 strains are associated with the outbreaks of bloody diarrhea when you eat undercooked hamburger or other fast foods from the restaurants. The bacteria on the surface of the hamburger are killed by cooking, but those in the interior remain alive and lead to bloody diarrhea. The other thing that is associated with these enterohemorrhagic strains is a life-threatening complication. What is this life-threatening complication? This is hemolytic uremic syndrome. This is the life-threatening condition, that is hemolytic uremic syndrome. What is this hemolytic uremic syndrome? Hemolytic uremic syndrome is a life-threatening complication caused by enterohemorrhagic strains of Escherichia coli. How it is caused? When the Shiga toxin that is produced by the enterohemorrhagic strains of E. coli enters the bloodstream, after its entrance into the bloodstream, it leads to hemolytic anemia, thrombocytopenia. Hemolytic anemia, thrombocytopenia, and it also leads to renal failure. Why these conditions occur? Because there are receptors for Shiga toxin on the surface of endothelium of the small blood vessels on the surface of kidney epithelium. So there are receptors for the Shiga toxin on the endothelium of the small blood vessels in the kidney epithelium. And on the kidney epithelium, there are receptors for Shiga toxin on endothelium of blood vessels and on the kidney epithelium. So what happens? Death of the endothelial cells of the blood vessels results in the microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, while destruction of the kidney epithelium leads to renal failure. The red cells passing through the damaged area become grossly distorted. The red cells that pass through this damaged small blood vessels get distorted and are hemolyzed. This condition is known as microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Why thrombocytopenia occurs? Thrombocytopenia occurs because platelets adhere to the damaged endothelial surface. And due to their adherence, the amount of platelets available in the blood is decreased because these are consumed. So it leads to thrombocytopenia. Now we come to the urinary tract infections. As we have already now discussed the urinary tract infections are most commonly caused by Escherichia coli. The strains that cause urinary tract infection contain villi with adhesion proteins. And through these they bind with the specific receptors present in the urinary tract. So when these bind with the urinary tract epithelium, by binding to these specific receptors that consist of dimers of galactose, that is galactose dimers. These receptors consist of galactose dimers. The villi are also called P. fimbriae. And in this way, when they bind with the specific receptors, cause the urinary tract infections. How this infection can be prevented? Cranberry juice contains the flavonoids. And what these do? These inhibit the binding of villi is inhibited. So when binding of villi is inhibited by these flavonoids, urinary tract infections are prevented. It should be noted that the motility of E. coli is associated with its infectivity because it helps or enables it to ascend the urethra, to enter the urinary bladder and the ureter and into the kidney. This motility of E. coli helps or makes the Escherichia coli able to ascend to the bladder, ureters and kidneys to cause the infection. Now, how the systemic infection is caused by Escherichia coli? As we know that it has capsule and endotoxin. The capsule prevents it from the attack of the neutrophils and prevents from its phagocytosis, while the endotoxin is responsible for causing sepsis and shock. So the E. coli strains that cause neonatal meningitis usually have a specific capsular type called K1 antigen. The endotoxin of the E. coli is the cell wall lipopolysaccharide, which causes several features of gram-negative sepsis such as fever, hypotension and disseminated intravascular coagulation. So when the Escherichia coli enters the systemic circulation, its capsule prevents it from phagocytosis, while the endotoxin is responsible for producing symptoms such as fever, hypotension and disseminated intravascular coagulation. We have discussed the sites where Escherichia coli cause the infections. Now we will discuss the clinical findings with the Escherichia coli. What are the clinical findings? Clinical findings within the intestinal tract: diarrhea. Diarrhea is caused by enterotoxigenic strains, that is watery diarrhea, while diarrhea caused by the enterohemorrhagic strains is bloody diarrhea. Bloody diarrhea is associated with the abdominal cramping abdominal cramps, as well as it is associated with fever. It is also associated with the fever. Along with this, hemolytic uremic syndrome also occurs by the bacteria that is O157H7 strain. It can also lead to hemolytic uremic syndrome, and it is characterized by thrombocytopenia, hemolytic anemia, and renal failure. These are the clinical findings when the intestinal tract infection is caused by Escherichia coli. Now, what are the clinical findings when infection is caused outside the intestinal tract? Outside the intestinal tract, the most important is the urinary tract infection. The clinical findings in case of urinary tract infection are: before this, you should know that mostly urinary tract infection is caused in women. Why? Because women have short urethra. Urethra is having proximity to anus. Urethra is proximity to anus. And third one is vagina is colonized by the fecal flora. Vagina is colonized by the fecal flora. Urinary tract infections lead to pyelonephritis, infection of the kidneys, cystitis, infection of the bladder, dysuria, and increased frequency of urination. So these are the clinical findings where urinary tract infection occurs. The other site of infection is in the children, that is meningitis. Escherichia coli leads to meningitis in case of newborn babies when it is passed from the mother to babies during birth. Meningitis occurs. Now we have discussed the sites of infection, how infection is caused at these sites, and what are the clinical findings of infections caused at different sites. Now we will discuss the lab diagnosis. The specimens that are suspected of containing gram-negative rats such as E. coli are grown initially on the blood agar. That is, these are grown initially on the blood agar and on the differential medium such as EMB agar, and McConkey's agar. On the EMB agar, E. coli colonies have a characteristic green sheen. Green sheen is produced by E. coli. While on the McConkey's agar, pink colonies are formed. Pink colonies are formed. These tests are sufficient to detect the E. coli because E. coli ferments the lactose. E. coli ferments the lactose, and this differentiates it from the Salmonella and Shigella. Furthermore, it can also be detected by detecting indole from tryptophan because it produces indole from tryptophan. Another test is it uses acetate as its only source of carbon. It uses acetate as its only source of carbon. So in these ways it can be detected in the lab. So what is the treatment of infections caused by what are the treatments of infections caused by E. coli? For urinary tract infections, we mostly give cotrimoxazole. For UTIs, nitrofurantoin can also be used. Ciprofloxacin as well as ceftriaxone can also be used for urinary tract infections. So for UTIs we can use cotrimoxazole, ciprofloxacin, ceftriaxone or nitrofurantoin. For sepsis, we require the treatment with the parenteral antibiotics. For example, cefotaxime. Cefotaxime is a third generation cephalosporin, and we add mostly an aminoglycoside such as gentamicin with the cefotaxime to potentiate the treatment procedure. For the treatment of neonatal meningitis, a combination of ampicillin and cefotaxime. Why cefotaxime? Because it can cross the blood-brain barrier, and this combination is given. For diarrheal diseases, antibiotic therapy is mostly not given, but symptomatic therapy is given such as IV fluids, etc. However, administration of cotrimoxazole or loperamide we use loperamide to decrease the or shorten the duration of the diarrheal symptoms. So this is all about the treatment. For prevention, there is no specific prevention for E. coli. There is no specific prevention for E. coli infections. However, various general measures can be taken, such as UTIs can be lowered by using the cranberry juices, by decreasing the uses of catheters, and by prolonged prophylaxis with the urinary tract antiseptic drugs, etc. Cases of sepsis can be prevented by prompt removal of or switching the site of intravenous lines. So this is all about the Escherichia coli. Thank you for watching.